time of the child murders?
Yes, I can.
Can you kind of give me an idea of what life was like before the child murders occurred?
Yes, I think before the missing and murdered kids, I think people was calm, happy, doing things that people normally do. You would ride you would ride in the neighborhood and see kids playing basketball, riding bikes, and just having fun.
Okay, around this time period, did you have any kids, and if so, how many?
I had 2 boys.
Their ages?
One was 8 and the other was about 12.
Okay, and during this, the time period of the missing and murdered children, what was life like in Atlanta?
During the time of the missing and murdered children, I think there was almost a panic in the city of Atlanta. People didn't know whose kid was going to be next, or they didn't know who was doing this, and it just created a fear that people just couldn't understand.
Okay, and do you feel like the cases of the missing and murdered children may have changed your parenting skills in a way?
Absolutely. Not only me, but I think that the majority of people here in Atlanta changed their parenting ways. They became more protective and more protective and more watchful of their kids.
Okay, and after the supposed murderer Wayne Williams was captured, how do you feel Atlanta was during that time?
After he was captured, I think things began to get back to somewhat of a normal time period. Kids began to venture outside again, and you could ride through the neighborhood and see a few kids out playing, and it took some time, but eventually things got back to normal. People began to relax, even though that there was still plenty of people who didn't believe that Wayne Williams was the killer, including myself. I still don't believe he was the killer, and but people began to relax.
Okay, you mentioned that you don't believe that he was the killer. What was some of the rumors or ideas that you heard the killers to be?
Well, there were rumors circulating that the Ku Klux Klan could have been involved, and other people like that. Me personally, I think that I might have run across the person who could have been responsible. I met him, and he was a very famous person here in the Atlanta area, well known by the whole community. He was a very big man. But he was a gay man, and he even tried to attack me. And he seemed like he would have been the kind of person who would have done something. That's just my opinion. He would have done something nefarious, like what was happening. The police were looking for a person that had a dog. They found hair or something on the carpet or something like that. And this guy did have a dog, and he lived by himself, and he was just kind of a weird person. I tried to contact the FBI, but I had no success in trying to contact them to maybe let them check this guy out.
Okay, and my last and final question would be, around the time of the child murders, what area of Atlanta was you living in?
I was living in the Benjamin Mays section of Atlanta, Cascade Road, right in this general area. They call it Collier Heights, I believe.
Okay. All right, well, I do appreciate you, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Can you recall the child murders?
Yes, I can.
What was time like before the child murders?
Before the children started getting murdered, the children, they would go outside and play, have such a good time and everything. They wasn't worried about anything. But after the child murder, they was afraid to go outside. They was afraid to go to the neighbor's house like they used to and stay outside and play until dark.
Okay, and around the time of the murders, did you have any children?
Yes, I did.
How many and their ages?
I had 2, like 7 and 12.
Around the time that the child murders began, how could you say life changed in Atlanta?
Life changed drastically because everybody was afraid, not only the children. The grown-up was afraid to let the children go outside. And there were so many children being murdered, and parents were just, they were just so upset.
Okay. After the supposed killer Wayne Williams was captured, How do you think Atlanta was operating then? Like, how do you think everyone felt? What was life like then?
Life it's changed, you know, nobody trusted each other. The blacks didn't trust the white didn't trust the black, and everybody wanted to accuse each other of, you know, what was going on.
Do you have any opinions on whether or not Wayne Williams was the killer?
My opinion is Wayne Williams may have killed some of the children after people started following him around. But I do not believe Wayne Williams killed all the children. I believe it was the work of the Ku Klux Klan trying to start a race war between the blacks and the whites. That's my opinion.
Okay. And around this time of 1979, during the child murders, what area of Atlanta was you living in?
I was living in southwest Atlanta between Cascade and Peyton Road.
Okay. Is there anything further you would like to say before we end this meeting?
I do believe that it was, another race that was killing most of these children, not Wayne Williams.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time.
Are you more than welcome?
Can you recall the child murders?
Yes, I can.
How old were you around the time?
I was about 12 years old.
Okay. And what was life like before the child murders occurred?
It was a really good time to be a child. We rode our bikes everywhere, went to the store, went to different neighborhoods around your area, and you really felt safe at your house and in your neighborhood.
Okay, and what about during and after?
During the child murders, when they first started happening, you were a little apprehensive, a little scared, but you really didn't feel like it was going to happen to you. But as it went on and more children started becoming missing and murdered, you got really afraid to leave your neighborhood. You were really frightened and only stayed in your own street. After it was over with, you still had that sense of doom or gloom. You always wondered, like, was it still going to keep going? Were you still going to be next? You really couldn't believe it was over with.
Okay, and what area were you staying in around the time of 1979 during the murders?
Cascade Road, Adamsville Park area. We stayed in there.
Okay, and do you have any opinions on the supposed killer, Wayne Williams?
Yes, I do. I believe he did some of those killings. I don't believe he did all those children. I believe there were other people helping him or copycats, but I don't believe he killed all those children, but I believe he got what he deserved.
Okay, well, thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
Charles Stephen, Earl Lee Terrell, Christopher Felipe Richardson, Clifford Jones, Latonya Wilson, Patrick Bazar, Angel Lanier, Yusef Bell, Jeffrey Lamar Mathis, Alfred James Evans, Luby Getter, Darren Glass, Eric Middlebrooks, Anthony Bernard Carter, Edward Hope Smith, Milton Harvey. May we say their names and may they rest in peace.